စီစဉ်ရအပြည်ပြည်ဆိုင်ရာထေရဝါဒဗုဒ္ဓသာသနာပြုတက္ကသိုလ်ပါမောက္ခချုပ်ဆရာတော်ဒေါက်တာဗဒ္ဒန္တသီလာနန္ဒာဘိဝန္တကအခမ်းအနားပြီးဆုံးကြောင်းဏီကုန်းချုပ်မိကွန်းမိန့်ကြားခြင်းဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဏီကုန်းချုပ်မိကွန်းမိန့်ကြားပြီးတော်မူပါရန်ဆရာတော်အားတပည့်တော်ရိုသေစွာလျှောက်ထားပါတယ်ဗျာ။
Your Holinesses, Your most venerable Mahathiras, distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, friends in the Dhamma, and ladies and gentlemen. The Buddhist summit will be brought to a glorious end a few moments from now. As you know, the government of Myanmar and its people have spared no effort, both physically and financially, to make it a success. And I hope that has been accomplished quite well. But however much they have endeavored, if there were no participants, it would come to nothing. Now that you have participated in this historic event quite enthusiastically as speakers, panelists, discussionists, and so on, this summit has come to a resounding success. Therefore, the success of this Buddhist summit is due to both the government and people of Myanmar on the one hand, and the participants like you on the other. This summit is convened on the principle of unity among Buddhists, regardless of their being Theravada or Mahayana or Vajrayana, etc. We have invited delegates from 34 countries, and as a record, I would like to read the names of those countries here. The names of the countries will be in alphabetical order. They are Australia, Austria, our countries, and in foreign countries. For example, the teaching of the Four Noble Truths. Every Buddhist sect believes that it is the authentic teaching of the Buddha, and so we can cooperate in teaching it to the world. The Noble Eightfold Path, which is one of the Four Noble Truths, is an important one, and we must practice first ourselves and then teach them to the world. The impermanence of all things conditioned, suffering nature of all things conditioned, and non-soul nature of all things, both conditioned and unconditioned, which are also accepted by all Buddhists, are another subject which we all agree, and so we can teach them too. The teaching of the universal love, that is, love for all beings without exception, down to the tiny insects, is well-known teaching of the Buddha, and also to be compassionate to all beings can be and will be taught to the world, but first practicing ourselves and later teaching it to the world. There are other teachings as well that are accepted by all sects of Buddhism, and we can make effort to teach them. With the principles of Buddhism, which are after all universal principles, the world can be made into a place where peace and harmony prevail, and people can live their lives without worry and anxiety. As to educating the people of the world, we must say that the first fellowship of Buddhists held in 1950 in Colombo, Sri Lanka, unanimously decided the term Hinayana should be dropped when referring to Buddhism existing in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, etc. I would like to add that the term Hinayana should be dropped from usage altogether, since it implies that the person who used that term thinks that those termed Hinayana are inferior to Mahayana and Vajrayana. In these days, it is not a good manner to refer to others rather than one's own as inferior. And also for the sake of unity, we would avoid it altogether in our speeches, books, and so on. The other thing is the commercial companies using the Buddha image and other Buddhist symbols in commercial objects to promote their sales. We must tell them, without being rude or violent, to leave Buddhists alone and not to desecrate our sacred objects in commercializing their commodities. We are grateful to the government of Myanmar for permitting us to use the internet, the expediency of which made work smooth. Without that, the summit would not run so smoothly. In the future also, I hope that the government will allow us to use the internet in propagating Buddhist teachings to the world. As of today, I am talking by phone the Patimokkha to the students in Taiwan, Mexico, and America. I talk through the phone because the place where I live, Half Moon Bay in California, has no adequate phone connection by computers yet. But my students listen to my talk through their computers, and they said that my voice was very clear. Thus, talking through the internet can reach many listeners without me ever leaving my place. Last but not least, I understand that it is arranged for some of you to go on a pilgrimage to Bagan and Mandalay with the compliments of Myanmar government and people. You will find many interesting things, especially the archaeological things of religious interest. It is good to know even a little of their culture when you learn something about their religion. I hope you will find many things there. And when you visit Bagan, I would like to ask you to make it a must to see two inscriptions in Bagan. One is called Raja Kumara, or Mahāsī inscription. It has a parallel in Egyptian archaeology. I think you know the Rosetta Stone. That stone was written in 3 languages, and it was through this inscription that Egyptologists could decipher the hieroglyphs of Egyptian language. Quite similarly, Rajakumara or Mahāsī inscription was written in Pali, Pew, Mon, and Myanmar languages on its 4 sides. It was from this inscription that Myanmar people were able to decipher to some extent the Pew language, which is one of the ancient languages of Myanmar. The subject written was just the dedication when King Chansita was ill and his son wanted to dedicate the Buddha image before the king died. The other inscription was the Shweguji inscription in Shweguji Pagoda in Bagan. In the pagoda were inlaid 2 slabs of inscription side by side on the wall in the inner pagoda. It was put there by King Alaung Sidhu, the donor of the pagoda. The inscription contains 100 elegant Pali verses expressing his compassion for all beings who are suffering in the round of rebirth and aspiring for Buddhahood. It is indeed a rare experience that one sees the inspiration for Buddhahood on an inscription. It clearly shows that Buddhahood was not unknown to Theravadists, and here the king himself was aspiring for Buddhahood. And in the end, the inscription ends with 2 additional verses in Sanskrit. In Mandalay, you will see the Tipitaka on 729 marble slabs donated by King Mindon in 1868. Each marble slab is about 5 feet high, 3.5 feet across, and about 5 inches thick. Each slab is housed in a shrine, and they were put in the Kudodo Pagoda in Mandalay. Near that pagoda, there is another pagoda called Sandamuni Pagoda, where you can see the commentaries written on marble slabs, which were put there by Hamid Ukhandi. So these are the highlights you will see on your pilgrimage. In conclusion, we would like to thank all of you for participating in this historical summit, and to all the staff and others from top to bottom who made every effort for the participants to be comfortable. And also, we must not forget to thank Tidigu Seado and his staff, who from the very beginning to the end worked hard to make the summit what it is, leaving no stones unturned in doing so. May you all be well, happy and peaceful. May the Dhamma prevail in the world. May the original teachings of the Buddha continue to exist in its pristine purity. Thank you.
Nanda Ugara, Sarabyaji, Uno Jesus Guru, Sarabyaji, Antima Zabana, Kuloyan, Kulu Kamuna. Yarana, Diana, Dangana, Yarana, Yatuma, Deva, Siadamari, Yode, Yala, Umoy, Chico, Musa, Pumiamaneo, Kadoya, the good Casina, Bongo, Jam, Peliva, Katumba. Ya bishiba yatuma ya sami nukan kadawa ilandita ebande dutiyambi ambande ranina taha esa dilam maya sami nukan kadawa ilandita ebande Sīlānada, 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 Sāpanā, Tajādiyo Kāto, Suci Topana, Puna Puja, Mana Katava Kaya. Devalo Kupamiro, Sharopiadi, Sharopiadi, Monchama Shabale, Tayo, Devalo Kupamiro, Rupa Pujoja Basu,
Sīlānada